You didn't lose them. You just decided you did. The moment they went quiet, something in you already knew how the story ended. You'd heard it before. You'd felt it before. The silence was new. The feeling wasn't, because a fight would mean something. A fight would give you something to fix, something to apologize for, a reason that makes sense. But this? The messages get shorter. The warmth drains out of the conversation. The person who was right there is suddenly harder to reach. It doesn't feel like conflict. It feels like disappearing. And the story you tell yourself, the one that fills the silence, is almost always the same. They don't care anymore. But that may not be what's happening. Stephen Porges spent decades studying what happens inside the body when a person feels emotionally unsafe. One of the ideas associated with his work is that the nervous system doesn't always fight. It doesn't always run. Sometimes it collapses inward. Heart rate drops, responsiveness drops. The person becomes quieter, slower, harder to reach. From the outside, it looks like they stopped caring. From the inside, it may be the opposite, not a decision to punish you, not proof that they don't care. A nervous system trying to protect itself from more than it can hold. Imagine being 8 years old. You start crying in the kitchen, no one yells, no one hits you, but the room changes. Your mother gets quiet. Your father sighs. Someone says, "Not now," and your body understands the lesson before your mind has words for it. Need less, feel less, disappear earlier. So later, when pain shows up in adulthood, rejection, conflict, uncertainty, emotional overwhelm, the old system activates. Not because it works, because it was practiced. Some people learn to reach toward connection when they're hurting. Others learn to go silent and wait for the storm to pass. Neither chose their pattern. They inherited it. This is why shutdown is so hard to read. Shutdown and indifference can look identical from the outside. The texts stop. The energy disappears. The person becomes a quieter version of themselves. But internally, they may be experiencing the opposite of calm. Too many thoughts, too many feelings, too much pressure from too many directions, and the system responds the only way it knows. By reducing contact, reducing stimulation, becoming smaller. The person who stopped answering you isn't necessarily thinking, "I don't care about this." They might be thinking, "I can't handle this right now," and they may have no idea how to say that. That's why chasing rarely works. More pressure creates more shutdown, more urgency pushes them further in, not because they want distance, because their nervous system is already at its limit. But if you only understand their shutdown, you'll miss the part that actually controls your pain. Because this stops being about them the moment your brain turns their silence into proof. Proof that you were too much, proof that you cared more. Proof that people always leave. So the real question is not only why they went quiet, it's why your body panics when they do. Think about that honestly. Because when someone goes quiet, most people don't just feel confused, they feel sentenced, like something has already been decided about them, that when people really see them, when the novelty wears off, when the effort becomes real, they leave. Attachment researchers describe this as an anxious attachment response. When someone withdraws, even temporarily, even for reasons that may have nothing to do with you, your nervous system can read it as abandonment. And once that alarm goes off, your brain starts collecting evidence. You replay the last conversation. You look for what you said wrong. You measure the length of their replies. You turn their shutdown into a verdict on your worth. And this is the painful irony. Two people can be suffering at the same time, one thinking, "I can't do this right now," the other thinking, "I knew I wasn't enough," neither one seeing the whole picture. Their silence isn't automatically a verdict on you, but the reason it feels like one. That part is yours to look at. Because sometimes the wound is not that they went quiet. It's the speed with which your mind turns silence into rejection. The silence may belong to them, but the meaning you give it has a history. You can't chase someone out of shutdown. More pressure usually creates more distance. The only message that helps is the one that asks for nothing. "I'm here." No pressure. Then you wait. And while you wait, you look at what the waiting is doing to you. Because a person who doesn't care moves away from connection permanently. A person in shutdown usually wants to come back. They just don't know how yet. The silence can look the same. The trajectory doesn't. Some people go quiet because they feel nothing. Some people go quiet because they feel everything at once. No language for it, no safe place to put it, no ability in that moment to stay open. And sometimes, the most loving thing you can do is resist the urge to make their silence mean something about you. Not because their behavior is automatically acceptable, not because you have to wait forever, but because the story you tell in the silence, I'm not enough. I did something wrong. They're leaving. That story was written long before they went quiet. The silence may belong to them, but the verdict, the one that says you were always going to be left, you wrote that yourself, long before they went quiet. The question was never really about them. It was always about when you'd finally stop agreeing with it. If this gave language to something you've lived through, like the video and subscribe. This channel is about the quiet patterns underneath ordinary pain, the moments that look small from the outside, but quietly decide how much love you think you're allowed to receive.